Now, 16-year-old Christina Edkins was on her way to school when she was stabbed to death on a Birmingham bus earlier this year. Today, the man who killed her pleaded guilty to manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility. Philip Simmerlane, who was suffering from paranoid schizophrenia, had been released from prison just a few months earlier. Now, Christina's family want to know why he wasn't supervised, despite numerous warnings about the state of his mental health. From Birmingham, our Home Affairs Correspondent Andy Davies reports.
Christina Edkins had just turned 16. A bright, caring girl, said her parents in a statement today, and excited by the prospect of her forthcoming school prom.
She left home somewhere around 7:15, walked up to the bus stop, and she got on the bus. Apparently was sat upstairs with her headphones on, probably texting.
Christina was on her way to school. It was 7:30 in the morning on Thursday the 7th of March in the centre of Birmingham. This is the bus she took, and this is the man who would kill her. Philip Simmerlane, 22 years old, getting on the bus at 5:30 that morning with his distinctive tiger motif top. He'd been homeless for some time, and he heads to the back of the bus to find somewhere to sleep. 2 hours later, Christina would board the upper deck. Shortly after Christina took her seat, Philip Simmerlane got up and moved closer to her. He sat on the edge of his seat, apparently staring at the teenager. He then stood up, walked past her, turned around, leaned in close and stabbed her, a single blow to her chest. He didn't say a word and then walked off. You can see him here chatting to the driver moments later. She shouldn't go on like that, he's heard to say, as Christina calls for help above. In his left hand, there's a plastic bag with a knife in it. He walks away. Christina said the judge today didn't stand a chance. Passengers and then paramedics tried CPR on her, but the knife had punctured her lung. She was dead within minutes. Chris Mellier heard the news from Christina's father, Jason.
At about 10:20, I was at home in the kitchen. The telephone rang. And Jason sounded very strange and said, Christina's been stabbed. And I couldn't comprehend how bad this was. Jason had to tell me 3 times before it actually sank in, as far as I was concerned, that Christina was actually dead.
Philip Simmerlane was arrested a few hours after killing Christina. He'd been suffering for years from paranoid schizophrenia, deluded on this day that a 16-year-old girl he'd never met before had posed a threat to him. Now the story is beginning to unravel of a young man originally from Swaziland, whose mother had tried repeatedly to get help for his increasingly violent behaviour. At their home in Walsall, she had to get a restraining order against him after he held a knife to her stomach. She even wrote to a judge once asking for her son to be hospitalised. Precisely what a doctor assessing Simmerlane in this prison last year also insisted should happen, but it didn't. And remarkably, he was released last December, the court heard, without a home to go to and without any support whatsoever.
He should have been in some way supervised or monitored, and there was an intention to do that. Whether that would have actually had any different outcome, I really don't know. But it's certainly a question which, as a family, since we learnt this information, we feel very strongly should be investigated.
As Christina's parents left court today, the local mental health trust issued a statement expressing their condolences. It was clear, they said, there were lessons to be learned for those involved in the care of Philip Simmerlane. What care there was for the 23-year-old who killed this couple's youngest child is now the subject of an external review.